Chad Robichaud. It's going to be a long day, brother.
It's going to be a good day, though.
I am super excited about this. So I like to do a warm-up before we get into the meat and potatoes of your life story, which I'm super excited to cover. But I like doing this little warm-up. It's all about everyday carry. You have been around Marine Special Operations. You're on JSOC contracts. You are now, I mean, I don't even know what to call you now, but I kind of feel like you're a humanitarian who is saving people from mass genocide. And there's definitely some hostage rescue stuff going on. And so with a guy like you that's been involved in so much and continues to be involved and go into wartime environments, semi-permissive environments, what are you carrying on you every day for protection? What is your everyday carry?
Smith & Wesson Equalizer.
Equalizer.
The Smith & Wesson Equalizer. A lot of people at Smith & Wesson like the MMPs. The Equalizer fits my hand really well. There's a couple of reasons like it. One, it's pre-cut, so I have a Hollison optic on it. I have a light on it. I think EDC always requires a light because, things go wrong in the dark. You better be able to see, right? So I have a light mounted on it, but it just fits my hand really well, and it has a high capacity, so kind of 15+1. And I'm not big on safeties on handguns, but the Equalizer has the hand grip safety, so in the back of the hand grip. So when if I'm doing appendix carry, I can put my hand on the back, my thumb on the back of the slide, and my hand's off the palm of my hand's off the safety. So when I slide it in, I don't have to worry about trigger snagging, anything like that. It's going to always be safe. So because I'm doing it in and out of pants, training with it in and my pants, I like having that safety. And safety is nothing. It's mindless, right? If you got a good grip, the weapon's ready to go.
What caliber is that?
It's a 9mm.
How many rounds does it hold?
15+1.
15+1.
Yeah. So for EDC, it's good carry.
Yeah, that's pretty good
capacity, and it's super thin. It's very easy to conceal, and I love it.
What kind of blade do you carry? Do you carry one?
I do. I always have liked Spyderco's. I know there's lots of good stuff out there.
Nice.
I've just always liked Spyderco's because I just like the way it opens. The little round hole. My thumb finds it well and opens it. So,
do you carry that for protection, or do you carry that just as a utility knife, or both?
I think both. I mean, for me, for protection, I feel super comfortable with a knife. I just feel like, I feel like a sense of security by having a knife on me. Even when I fly, right? You can't fly with a knife, but I have a sharp object that TSA, I won't say what it is because I don't want to get rolled up next time I go through TSA, but I have something that I carry with me everywhere I go. I'm a person everywhere I fly with, and it is equally as effective as any knife, and I've flown with it for like 5 years. And,
what's it made out of?
Metal.
It's made out of metal.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Yeah, and
you have to tell me offline.
Yeah, I'll tell you offline, and I fly with it everywhere. When I get in the plane, it comes out with me. It's in my lap, and I feel that peace of mind that I can stick something inside of somebody's ear, and if I have to, you're not naked if you have something like that. So I like either edge weapon or spike, to have with me.
What
and for also EDC, like, I mean, one thing I never did before the wars is until seeing how fast people bleed out is always have a tourniquet at arm's distance of me.
What kind of tourniquet?
I just get them from Fieldcraft. Mike Glover, our friend Mike Glover. Yeah. Just whatever. He usually sends me stuff for going over some overseas operations, so they'll kit me out.
Oh, nice.
So I just have them. I always say, like, you want them in anybody. I'm not talking about just gunfights too. Car accident, right? Most people bleed out, and so I don't want to just have it sitting there. I have it stowed, like double-sided tape or rubber band it somewhere where I can reach it from anywhere where I'm sitting in a car. And so I've seen too many people bleed out that I want to have a tourniquet everywhere I go. So in my little fanny pack, I have one. So
you carry a fanny pack?
I do sometimes because I'm in Texas. A lot of times I'm in shorts or something like that, and people are always carrying inside the waistband. Then sometimes they're not dressed appropriately, and so you're not going to carry, or you leave it in a car or a backpack. So sometimes I'm either have it in my waistband or in a fanny pack. So. And, people make fun of the fanny pack, but
hey, it's convenient.
Yeah, it's convenient.
What else you carry in that fanny pack?
extra ammo. I carry. I always have I have an extra battery from optics, and I always have a little adjuster from optic, the little
Yeah.
sight adjuster from optics. I have the tourniquet in there, and just for stateside, that's pretty much all I have in it. I don't keep much else in it. Sometimes I'll have if I don't have my knife in my pocket, I put my knife in there.
Oh, right on.
And yeah, but I don't load up with a whole. I'm not going out for it's not a go bag or anything.
You're not going on a direct action raid.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, my lights on my gun, and I got an extra magazine in there.
Well, I got a gift for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love gifts.
I got a buddy over at SIG. His name's Jason.
Okay.
And I told him about you and all the good stuff that you're doing, Mighty Oaks is doing, some of the stuff you've been
Right.
involved in, and he just wanted me to present you this.
That's awesome.
So,
We talked about you being the SIG guy and me being a Smith & Wesson, but I have to say, I carried I flew for the Air Marshals for a little bit.
you flew with the Air Marshals?
I did. I was one of the first ones right after 9/11, and I carried a SIG 229, and I put like 30,000 rounds in a year through a 229, and I loved that gun. And then the 226 we had over at JSOC
Yeah.
at the time, and so I love this. This feels really freaking nice.
So that is that's the newest 365 macro, the Legion. It's all metal, no polymer.
Feels really nice.
I think it's 17 rounds in the magazine plus one, and so you got 18 rounds. And they just came out that new optic as well.
That's the SIG's optic.
That's a SIG optic. So they did some major improvements in the optics department. And so yeah, that's, what do they call it? Shake awake or something. Yeah. You shake the gun and it turns on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turns on by movement. It's got those it's ported slides, so it helps with the recoil and the muzzle flip. And man, they just really, I love what they're doing with the subcompact carry guns, man. That's
super nice.
yeah.
What's his name again?
Jason. So
Thank
there's
you.
a business
Thank you,
card
Jason.
in there, and give Jason a call, and I think he's got something very similar to that to send you. So
Awesome.
yeah, man.
That is freaking sweet.
So there's something that just hit the news cycle today, and I think this is a good topic for EDC because in preparedness, we just had this supposed cyber attack yesterday.
Yeah.
Supposedly 70-something thousand AT&T customers went out of lost reception.
Mm-hmm.
T-Mobile took a hit. Verizon took a hit. Now they're saying a lot of pharmacies, something happened with a lot of pharmacies where they took a hit. And first it was just an outage.
There's a Chinese solar flare.
Yeah, that was Chinese. So yeah, but they're reporting this morning. Everything I'm seeing is saying that it was a cyber attack, and so this is something that, I mean, how do you prepare for a cyber attack? Have you thought about this?
I have a lot. When it first happened, first thing, everybody was like, "We get hit by EMP." Well, EMP is like, that's much different than a cyber attack, right? EMP is going to be anything that's actually functional. Like functionally operating machinery and stuff that requires electronics is going to be shut down. So the thing about cyber attack is it could be much more targeted. It makes it much more dangerous because you could hit somebody's infrastructure but protect your own. And so everybody's worried about EMPs, but cyber attacks are much more advanced and much more targeted. And so that was the first thing I thought happened right away when I seen multiple carriers go out, and it wasn't just those major ones; there was a lot of smaller ones too.
Was it?
All at one time?
Yeah.
And it's like, and so right away I thought, this is a cyber attack, and it's coming out. And then I joked about this Chinese solar flare because they said it was a solar flare. I'm like, oh, a Chinese solar flare. But yeah, I think this should be, if we don't get enough wake up calls, right? But this should be a wake up call to Americans that you have to be prepared. Because what I saw yesterday, and one of my guys that travel with me, he was like having a hard time functioning to travel to get to the airport because his phone went out. And I'm like, you have to, like, he's like, man, I don't know my GPS. I'm like, it's good to have a GPS. I use mine on my phone too, but you also need a MAP, a map. Like all my family has the old Randy McMillan maps.
Really?
I got my daughter one. She thinks I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist, but I'm like, so what? Put it away. Even if you don't learn how to use it, the instructions are in it. I put a route out how to get to my house because when something happens, you need to be able to get to the safe haven. Like, food, the ability to grow food, know where to collect water, have that routed out, the ability to filter water, ammo, guns, communications equipment, whatever type of communications equipment you need. I talked about Midas Gold, one of my partners, Midas Gold. I get gold and silver from them because I want to have that on hand because you could have all the crypto you want, but when that right cyber attack comes or your phone goes down, how do you get it, right? So you want to have tangible gold. You need to be as an individual prepared, and that's not. I think back in the day, people thought of preppers as like conspiracy guys or nutbags, but this is right now. It's like, if you're not prepared, you're going to be in trouble. And I think yesterday should be a wake up call for people to say, I need to be thinking about this. Another thing that I recommend everybody has, and I have them, and you may too, is Faraday bags.
Yep.
So I have Faraday bag every time I go overseas. I use Faraday bags when I travel. I like to, in my house, I have an extra phone in a Faraday bag that's just unassembled. I use it. It's not going to get hit, and I just stow it away.
I'm a huge fan of those. Maybe you can answer this. I'm pretty sure I keep my phone in there all the time. I mean, now those Amazon Alexas are now sending sonar out throughout the house, so they know exactly where you are in your house while they're listening.
I'm gonna start getting SIG messages on my SIGs will start advertising on my Instagram here in a little bit because they just heard us talk about it.
So I put my phone in there all the time when I don't want people listening to what we're talking about, Right. So when I come home at night, I throw it in there. It blocks the signal. They can't listen through it. They can't, you know what I mean?
Turning it off doesn't matter, by the way.
Yeah, turning your phone off doesn't
just turn
matter.
my phone off. No, take the battery. If you can take the battery out,
you got to block all signal, right?
Yeah.
Unless I'm missing something.
No, everything I know, and I don't know a lot, but everything I do know from friends at NSA and we can listen.
Yeah. Yeah. And we are listening.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. I'm glad you brought that up. I feel like the EMP would come after the cyber attack.
I think so. Yeah.
But you think it's going to happen?
I think so. I mean, if anything, right, it doesn't mean troops are coming behind it. If anything, it's just to disrupt our way of life, disrupt our economy. I mean, look, just the cell phones being out for a little bit yesterday, how much it impacted people. Mm-hmm. I mean, you hit a major cyber attack followed by EMP and take out a large part of our country's infrastructure. It doesn't take. I mean, of your listeners right now, people should ask themselves, when's the last time you went out and hunted for your own food? I don't mean going get a trophy buck. I mean going out on your own without a guide, paying somebody, go out hunting for your own food, fish for your own food, have to harvest water that you can't get from a tap. Like, if you don't know how to do these things, you're in trouble. And when the grid goes down, it doesn't matter what kind of job you have or how smart you are, what degrees you have. When the infrastructure of a country goes down, overnight, you'll be, first will come the chaos of people trying to survive, but you're going to be needing to survive. That's what, Mike Glover, a good friend of ours, wrote the book Prepped. I'd recommend that for Prepared. Is it Prepped or Prepared?
I think it's Prepared.
Yeah. It's an incredible read to have that kind of knowledge on hand, but you got to be prepared because, you can't trust. It used to feel good to be an American that I could trust our government was protecting us. But we're letting Chinese spy balloons fly over our country. And people could have whatever political opinion they want, but if that balloon at any moment wanted to just hit a button, he could have shut down half of our country and would have been in the Stone Age immediately. Yeah. They have the ability to do that. And they could have did that at any moment that balloon was over our country.
I think I hate saying it's not a matter of if, it's when. Yeah. But it's going to happen, man.
I think it's going to happen too.
Have you ever heard of David Tice?
I have not.
He produced this documentary called Grid Down, Power Up.
Okay.
And it talks about how vulnerable our power grid is. We're not even checking all of the transformers and stuff that we import from China, right? Mm-hmm. You see those big the chain link fence around a power station
Yeah.
and those huge transformers that are in there. We don't even check those for malware, spyware, Trojan horses, any of that. They don't even check them.
And meanwhile, we got hundreds of fighting age Chinese males with no women, no children coming across the southern border.
Yeah.
Some of them being caught with military papers in their hands. Coming across the southern border. We don't even know how many in our country or where they are right now.
The incompetence and lack of attention that people have paid to what is going on in this country is all coming to fruition right now.
And we're going to pay a price. The American people are going to pay the price.
When do you think this is going to happen?
You know, with the elections, with the elections coming up, 2024 elections coming up, almost, you know, people say conspiracy, right? I think the difference between a conspiracy and a prophet right now is about 2 weeks, right? Like, give it about 2 weeks and it becomes prophecy. But I say this, and people, I'm not trying to scare people, but with the election year right now, I almost think there's people within our own government and political parties and political powers that want to allow something like this to happen this year. That's my personal fear, and I hope it's just a fear. But so this year is something that I could see something major happening in the United States.
I'm with you. I think it's going to be later, though.
Yeah,
I think there's definitely a possibility.
I hope so.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, you know about war games and how they do these computer simulations that will show. It will basically show the probability, the percentage of probability that you have to come out on top if a particular scenario were to happen. You know, right now we probably have the weakest administration that we've ever had in the country.
Right.
I mean, it just is what it is. It's not a political statement. That's the fucking reality of what Americans have created in this country is the weakest administration that we've ever had. Why, if you were an adversary, if you were Russia or you were China, why on earth would you even consider making a move right now when the border is completely wide open, when it is, I mean, so easy to capture politicians through bribery? You know, I mean, it's right there in the open. All these politicians that have been bribed by Chinese spies. It seems, I know people care, but it doesn't seem like anybody's cared. So I guess what I'm saying is if this is a game of chess, these guys are just going to continue to make the right moves to
get as much as you can right now
and run the simulation. Say maybe today, we got a 65% that if we run a cyber attack on the U.S. right now, we're going to wind up coming out on top. What can we do to improve those numbers? You know, right now is the time for them to be improving the numbers. Rerun the simulation. All right, now we're at a 75% probability that we're going to come out on top. Let's run it again. Let's insert some more whatever, you know, let's...
Well, they're building infrastructure right now.
Exactly.
Infrastructure.
You know, and so they build, they take the recommendations from the simulation, they put it into motion, then they rerun the simulation. It ups the probability that they're going to come out on top. When we do get a stronger administration, if that ever happens, who knows, that would be the time where they go, all right, we've done everything we could. We've had this weak administration for how many years? We have taken full advantage. Now they're getting ready to strengthen. Let's pull the trigger right now.
Yeah.
You know, and because then you have strength, incoming strength that won't be able to.
Right, because they've been undermined. Right, they're sitting on a foundation of sand. That was,
I personally think that's how I would do it.
Sure, yeah. And honestly, that's why my fear would be this year, because if they fear that they're going to lose the White House, when I say they're going to lose the White House, I mean our adversaries are going to lose the White House, because I think they have our adversaries have the White House right now because of corruption and so if they feel like they're going to lose the White House, maybe they don't feel like they're going to lose it right now, and they feel like, and so they can play it out longer. What when you talk about like what happened yesterday, I don't believe. By the way, we said it was like a cyber attack. It was a cyber attack, but I believe that's more of a feasibility assessment type scenario. What you're saying there, let's just kind of launch this. Let's see, because that's what you do before before game day. These assessments, seeing what you get away with, and.
What would you do What do you have a communications plan? I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
That's like the one thing that I'm totally lacking on. I guess not totally. My communications plan I don't know how to run a ham radio anymore. I'd have to relearn that.
Yeah.
I have a handful of CB radios to talk to throughout the neighborhood. We got the satellite internet stuff. Got a sat phone. What do you?
Yeah, Iridium sat phone's gonna be great, but and I think you should have one for that scenario. I have Iridium sat phones, and always keep a year paid up in advance. But at some point they're gonna shut that down. But
Yeah.
right out of the gate, it's gonna be good to have a sat phone. The CB radios are gonna be the VHF, like VHF radio, push to talk to be direct in communication with someone from your family. That's the best plan I have. Ham radio is not something that I'm sharp on either. Mike Glover would say, ham radio, but man,
I would be ashamed to be having this conversation with Mike Glover right now because I don't know my shit. Ham radio.
He's always ham radio, and pushing for it. But that's gonna be. But VHF push to talk direct for you and your family. You should have that at minimum.
Yeah.
And have it distributed. And then one of the things that people forget with radios is like if you go into that scenario, you're probably going into that scenario with a power grid down. So you want to have a powering source because as soon as it goes down, right now you're going to have, even if it was charged up at that moment, you're going to have 8 to 12 hours of battery life. So you want to have solar. I always have like we use them a lot in Ukraine right now. These solar panels, pull them out, and charge up. So I have and have power like charging stations. So like power stations.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing that I think people miss. People like have their comms plan, but they don't think about how they're going to power their comms when the grid
And you
goes
got to
down.
store all that stuff in a Faraday cage.
Yeah. Because if not, it's going to be hit.
Yep.
And none of it'll work anyway.
Well, Chad, we got a lot to cover. That was a great conversation. Enjoy the new SIG.
Yeah,
And,
that's awesome, man. Thank you.
You're welcome. Don't thank me. Thank Jason.
Thank Jason. Thank you, Jason.
But let's get into the interview.
Let's do it.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.